Okay, we are live once more. Another week has passed. Crazy stuff abound. I guess everyone's worn out from their protest at the No Kings 51. Okay. The No Kings protest. I was out to, I went to flea market and I was looking for a friend of mine, morning Tim, and I haven't heard from him in quite some time. And I had a buddy that helped me out a lot. That's I guess what he did for a living. There's a bunch of these guys that are on some sort of disability or something, and they're at the flea market continuously every time. So I had a friend help me out, for years. Morning, Megabait. Um, and I haven't heard from him for the longest time. Usually he'd send a text, and where he was set up at this one little roadside market thing that's down in this town here, he was always there. And whenever I drove through town, if he was out, I'd stop and sit and talk with him. So I haven't seen him. But I do remember I seen him at this other flea market with this other fellow that lives down there, and he used to always stop by. So when I went to the flea market, it's all different now. It's weird. Walked around, really didn't see many of the people that I knew over the years. Some of them, are just not around anymore. So I was wondering, I found this old fella that he was with the last time I seen him. It was quite a while ago. I said, "Hey man, I'm looking for our buddy." And the old fella's looking at me. He hasn't seen me in a while, and he didn't even remember who I am. And he goes, "Are you talking?" He goes, "You didn't know?" And I said, "No." He goes, "He died of a massive heart attack a year and a half ago." It was, I guess, instant. It just hit him and he was gone. I said, "Okay, that explains why he isn't sending me texts or responding to any messages I sent to the phone number." So it was a little bit of a sad thing for me. But, as we get older, this happens a lot more often uh, than not. Uh, and anyway, I had to go to the Legion. And again, three, four people there. They're all drinking water because uh, they're in their 80s and that. So the Legion's not making any money staying open. And the few people that go in there, it's just a matter of time, I think, before they have to end up shutting that down. So I just went down the street to one of the local biker bars I hang out in, and the guys are coming in. It was a nice day. A lot of people were riding and going places and coming back and forth. And I guess they went to downtown. They drove down, and they were talking that they did have a No Kings parade or some nonsense down there uh, in downtown. And he says when we started getting close to it, they're blocking the streets off and that. And they said, of course, in a little hick town down the road in the other county, they didn't have a No Kings protest. They like to bring in all the food trucks. There's a lot of food trucks, and some of these food trucks are famous or have a certain menu. So they'll have anywhere from 5 to 10 of them down there, and they're all, bragging on their cuisine, and they have like a thing where you can just walk around. They block Main Street off for about 3 blocks, and you can go and sit and eat and try the delicacies of these local vendors, which is a popular thing down here. They have that quite often, usually on the weekend. I remember one of them sets up by one of the big box stores, Lowe's there, the hardware store, and he served some sort of steak. And they had one come up to a place, and the guy set up, and he had some sort of smash burgers or something. It's, you know, and I asked everyone, well, when that truck come up here, did you guys eat? And because they're all mindful of their funds, they didn't like the idea of paying an exorbitant amount of money for a hamburger. But there's one fella that went there, and this one guy goes, he bought like $60 worth of food. And I said, well, he's quite a large individual. Maybe he was hungry. They didn't like the prices. But anyway, got back doing some more work, did some reloading. If you remember, you'll see the 7.65 by 53 Argentine or Mauser or Belgian, whatever you want to call it. Actually, it's a pretty interesting cartridge. And this time I sat down and went with 174 grain bullet from PPU. I did 150. It kind of was okay, but I didn't put a lot of work into it. This I did. Tried to marry it up to what I found on Wikipedia as the velocity. Came pretty close and actually come up with a fairly accurate round. You know, the how you doing there? Glad you can make it. So that's a development. And the reason I went with the 174 grain is because it can be used, the 311 diameter can be used in the 303 British, the same bullet, and the 7.7 Japanese also use the same bullet. 7.7 Japanese, you have to excuse me, I was out late. It's last night conducting some, I had to wait around in a place from about 4 or 5 till 7 till some guys showed up and I had to talk to them about stuff face to face, and gonna work on some projects with the AR-15s. But I did get that load developed, which is cool. I may load up some 7.7 Jap. I got a whole bunch of it I loaded a while back. Actually, the Arsecas are fun to shoot when you get the brass and the bullets. And it's just like reloading any cartridge when you have the correct dies, the correct brass, and the right diameter bullet. No brainer. There's nothing special or going out of your way. It's just nobody really stocks this stuff other than Graphs. You go to Graph and Sons, they always had the PPU stuff. And I believe the stuff is available. They were saying with the tariffs and stuff with Serbia, and what it was is the Serbs supply a lot of guns and weapons to foreign countries. Okay, and I think the deal was, let's look, rifle brass. I remember 7mm Mauser was out for quite a while. We'll go down here into the military ones. Swiss. I haven't loaded any Swiss in a while. It's there. No, out of stock. 90 cents a piece for the 7.5 Swiss. Argentine in stock. 94 cents. So there's some there, but I got 100 pieces. And I remember a friend of mine called me out and said, 7mm Mauser. And it is out of stock. All brands. So yeah, some of this stuff could be difficult thing. Yeah, and the fellows that rode by were kind of insinuating that the people who were down there were, you know, of a certain persuasion with their significant others. I don't want to get anybody angry. Uh, but yeah, they were kind of giggling and making fun. But yeah, what it is all the stuff, uh, the whole shutdown is over. He went and closed, or Dodge closed a lot of these things that were sending money overseas and supporting all this. And this is what the shutdown's about. The Democrats want all that reinstated, and he's not going to do it. Okay. And I kind of don't understand. See, what frightens people is when he sends troops in uh, to these cities, and a lot of them get uh, worked up over it. Starting to learn about casting bullets. Melting pots. The Lee pots are okay. They're not the best. I prefer either an RCBS or Lyman, especially when I'm going to cast a ton of bullets. But that's a good start. And yes, an auction is a pretty good place to pick up some stuff. Uh, you know, so that's a good start. All right, he got his elk. So you got out there and you got the elk. How big was it? I know them things are humongous. And how big was it? And are you like having the head or something mounted, or what? Yeah, but get started with the Lees. I don't know which ones you got. The little small ones. That one, the 10-pounder. I used one of them. That's the first one I bought when I was 16 years old, and I used that pot forever until I got a 20-pound, an old. I bought a bunch of reloading stuff, an old Lyman 20-pound pot. I think it was made in the 60s or something. The thing worked. I used to use it to smelt down the raw stuff and flux it outside. I used to use it outside and pour it in the ingots. Uh, but the thing is, watch the quality of the lead. I purchased some pure lead and started blending my own stuff, and I found it was contaminated with something, and you couldn't cast a bullet with it. Even when I made black powder uh, balls with it, that kind of don't have to be perfect. I would fire it, and there was this residue in the barrels, that hunks of this material come out. It's either zinc or something. So you got to kind of be careful. And then if you buy the actual mixed, like Lyman #2 or something, there's companies that do it. I've gotten that, and it works really good. But it's super expensive, and it's kind of hard to find pure lead, real good pure lead anymore. Okay, 5x5, not a monster. European mount. All right, great. So yeah, I'm glad you got out on it, and everything else. Probably, yep, contaminated with zinc. That's what I thought. What's wrong? The stream isn't coming through good. Okay, I don't know. I am trying to upload something uh, So it may be interfering with the thing. My internet service provider isn't uh, too good. I don't know. Nobody else mentioned it. Like I said, I'm here at my desktop. Super blurry. Yeah, I don't know. This guy says it looks good to him. I am uploading a video, so I was trying to get it's only 50% done, but that may be interfering how you're receiving it. Is when you overload the thing. But stream looks good to him. Yeah, because I am uploading something. I'm uploading a video to YouTube, so that's probably what's causing it. And I think the internet here also, because my wife does a lot of work from home and she has a way of testing it. And we were supposed to have one rating with Spectrum, and it was terrible. It was the stamps.com didn't work half the time, and that's what it was, is the internet service or the speed sucked. And it'd take me several times to upload a video, and I kind of had trouble today, so it must be there's a drain. They supposedly increased it, which kind of did help. But again, I believe it all is depends on how many people are using it and what's going on. Yeah, it's not a good search. Well, that's about it. Midway says they had these awesome Cattleman models and a built-in loading gate, half on. Let's look. Boom, boom. Midway. Shooting guns, revolvers. Schofield, Taurus, Ruger. Go with 45 Colt long revolvers. And Taurus Cattleman. Simon. Okay. Let's see what we're looking at. Awesome replicas of Cattleman, 1870 miles. And built-in loading gate, half. Okay. It has an off-center hammer because for the British market. Hmm. here's this question. What are you talking about? Are you talking about a Captain Ball revolver, or are you talking about a gun that's already set up to shoot 45 long Colt? Okay, because the Cattlemen, 1870s, they're built-in loading gate, off-centered hammer. Convert over to metallic cartridges. I see. I don't understand this. What are we talking about? Yeah. See, I don't know exactly what gun you're talking about. Bounty hunter, bounty hunter. Let me look at guns, revolvers. Yeah, I'm kind of lost here. Okay, I don't know. You know. Okay, I know now. I know what the hell you're talking about. It's the black powder ones, and you wish to convert it to Schofield, Ruger. Cimarron. Yeah, I can't really find it, but now I know what you're talking about, and I don't know. Okay, if it's off center, is there a conversion cylinder for it? Conversion cylinders for any of this cost $300, and if this gun is built with something off center, to not, it's already been made, so it cannot be converted. You already kind of know that. And actually, they're quite expensive to convert the black powder guns to a cartridge gun. It's like 350 or something, or close to 4. And then, you got to screw with the guns, and that. You're better off just buying a 45 long Colt Western revolver. They have a whole bunch of them there. But yeah, taking that and converting it, I'm not quite sure. And no, they don't make a conversion cylinder for it. Okay. No, just buy. That's what I got. I have Cimarron made it, I believe. Yeah, I have a Cattleman that was made by Uberti or whatever. I actually bought it at Gander Mountain. I don't know what to tell you. I cannot. I cannot give you information about going on the underground there. Then I would get one of the other, if you were going to do that, go with the Remington new model, a solid frame one, okay, and get the conversion that way. Those probably would be the best to convert. Is the Remington. Where are they? Yeah, the L Remingtons. What do we have right here? Boom, 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 boom. $18.75 Remington. Or the 1858 new Army model. You know, get one used somewhere. You can probably find one on the gun broker or something, or at a flea market. Get one of the old Remington new Army models with the solid frame, and they do make conversion for that. That would be the way to go. Yeah, they probably do. They're watching us right now. Yeah, you should be able to find the black powder, and that's why I said go with a solid frame Remington new Army model. If that's the one, you know, if you got your heart set on all of that way. 76% looks like. But yeah, you already know that they've already done something to that other one to where it's difficult to convert to a cartridge gun. So I would avoid that. And probably, I've never done it. You know, the other ones, you kind of stick a plate in there or something, or basically the cylinder has a plate with spring-loaded little firing pins, and you just kind of slide it in there, and away you go. So that would be the way to do it. And they make it for most of the ones there. You can find that. I forget where the hell. I was looking into it. I was going to machine and do a cartridge conversion to one of the 36 caliber Navy models. In that, but it's a project I never got into. You know, now they make these drop-in things. This other thing, you'd have to kind of reshape the hammer, and you put something on the frame, and then you put the cylinder in, and you would have to put a spring ejector and all that other fun stuff on there. But and grind out, you'd have to machine out a loading port into the frame itself. That was kind of a complicated task. I kind of got out of it because A, the cost, the time, having to set it up in a Bridgeport at work, some machine that had the horsepower to do it and take one slice through and everything else. And but yeah, go with the Remington new Army model, the black powder gun. Go find one of those and do that. It'd be probably simple, easy, and a reliable thing in the end. Let's see. Yeah, so we lived through the No Kings protest. Of course, like I was in downtown in Greensboro today. And I did not stop at the catering truck extravaganza. But I was out quite late yesterday and a bit tired and worn from it. Had a busy day. Uh, been working a little bit more with testing out the ARs, getting some reloads done, may get some more done before it starts getting very cold. Uh, I wanted to, what was I going to test out? I did the Argentine Mauser. I did get something done, the 7.62 by 53R for the finish rifles. I did come up with a load for that. You mean them little small ones like next weekend or this weekend at the Armory? Because the actual one at the Coliseum, that's been done. You can thank the mayor. The mayor canceled probably used city taxpayers' money to buy the rights to it and shut the show down. Okay, that's kind of pissed me off. But her election's coming up. But looking at the cast of characters that are trying to get nominated, it ain't better. Too many liberals in that town. But if you mean 6-shooters and that little midget gun show, and I think it's going to be at the Armory on the north side of town. I don't even bother going to them. I went to several of the shows. A lot of the people he has there got some pretty overpriced stuff, and they're small. Okay, granted, he doesn't charge you like what the larger venues does. It used to be $5. I think it's $7 now. Um, but I've gone to several of them, and I think he just schedules one and you request a table because I requested if I could have a table at one, and he just goes, go to the website, okay, you don't want my business. I think what he does is he just takes, whenever he schedules one, these people go, I want so many tables, and once the tables are done, uh, you know, he just, that's it. You can't get in. That's why I see. That's why I see that. Yes, yes, that's his shows. I kind of, like I said, I just kind of don't go there. Uh, and actually, I had a friend that I knew that he did go there, and then I seen where he stopped going there. Uh, I don't know if he does or not, or how it works. See, the old Greensboro gun show, okay, once you got it, like I get one table. Okay, a couple times I got two tables when I first went there. And you could go up to the counter that weekend and pay them in advance for your table, reserve it 6 months in advance. There's a lot of people that would do that, uh, just go to them and pay them for the next show. And I used to do that. I had a friend that did that, but that's where we're going. Pre 1899 Mauser. Receiver from one to make a 7mm semi-auto super accurized heavy barrel 10 power scope and totally new gun. Well, if you ever do make a video, that seems like quite an interesting project to do that. It would be interesting if you made a video on that. I'd like to see it. Mm-hmm. Yep. But the gun shows, yeah, I kind of don't get out to them. Uh, and I kind of gave up going to them, you know, after a while. A couple guys from the Legion went to one uh, a few months ago, and I think yeah they went up to the one that was at the Armory. He has them. It's about once a month, sometimes twice a month. He does crank out some shows there. Um, they went up there, and right now is not the time. If you want deals, like I told these guys, you got to order this stuff uh, online. Okay, it's sales, and you keep getting the emails and that. And you can grab some deals, but the problem is a lot of this stuff, even if the ammunition is cheap or whatever, or the firearms, you're still paying shipping and handling, you're still paying sales tax, and it really doesn't come out to the advertised price. If the advertised price is what it was for a case of ammo and you just handed them cash and walked out the door with it, that would be great, but it's not. And, to go to a gun show where the people are already out money for the tables, paying their employees, and that. And if somebody's selling something there, they're not, they went in there and said, well, we'll buy this gun and we'll buy, like half a case of ammo. Can you knock like $50 off or something? It's probably what the guy's making in profit. And he told them no when they got incensed and left the show and vowed never to go back again. I said, you're not going to do that with a small time dealer. Okay, I said, do what I do, get your email box full, spend, a half hour going through it, looking at what they got, and sometimes you do catch a flash sale. Okay, like the primers, it's just they lowered the price for a case of 5,000 to where you know you just have to buy it. Okay, and that's the end of it. See, but the only thing is sometimes I get overextended between buying the firearms like Andersons. If you see people getting rid of Andersons, is that Sportsman's Warehouse or something? It's one of the online things. At 373 in my hand. Okay, after I think shipping was free on the rifle, after the sales tax and the transfer fee. I've never seen an AR-15, which Anderson. I mean, people say that they're junk and everything, but the budget ARs, I've never seen them that low. Okay, in years. All right, so yeah, you can't beat that. All right, and then once they're gone, now you're going back up close to five bills for it's going to be, and it's the same thing, okay, to have a high point made. Because the one guy got a high point because they're new, and he goes, basically, it's an Anderson rifle. Everything is identical, even to the magazine they send with it. Okay, it's just the receiver has something different engraved on it. That's the only difference. Okay, and he didn't quite understand if they're just taking the parts and assembling them until until they're gone, or if they are going to be, the things can still be machined there at the facility, or if they did like Remington, go in there and remove everything out of the building and set it up somewhere else, or that company just has a new owner and it's still right where it is making this stuff, just it's got a different name on it, and then they send the components to a company, and assembling an AR-15 is not, that difficult. It's the gun is designed to be modular. If you can change the spark plugs in your car, you can figure out how to assemble an AR-15 rifle. to a degree with the proper tooling, okay, which isn't much. It's basically you're assembling the parts is what you do. It isn't like a high-powered rifle where you gotta thread the barrel, get it into the receiver, and then do the final chamber reaming and all that. When you get done, a lot of the older guns, that's the way it is. You had barrels with short chambers, and once you got everything timed, set, and ready, then you would finish the chamber till the gun headspace correctly. That's the way it's done. It's a bit more complicated than the AR platform. But yeah, I was working on stuff. I know one guy. He's not here in the chats. He usually is. We're going to. I was doing research into the binary triggers and all that other stuff because it's pretty popular. There's a ton of videos out there, ton of videos of these influencers or jokers, tearing away at ammo with these guns, and oh, it's legal, it's legal. Actually, there's somebody that made a bunch of videos that's close by here, and he went to a shop or a gunsmith down in Asheboro, which is not far away. And he had a bunch of these force reset triggers on 2 or 3 different guns. I don't know which range he was at. I wish I did to go there because these are not allowed at my range. I can't use them there. And he was just ripping through mag after mag ammo. And, they say they're legal. Then another thing, when I was talking to my friends, well, how about, wherever you guys go shooting? And they go, yeah, well, we were doing that. And there was a bunch of us, and we were shooting a bunch of guns, and the police kind of showed up and were just watching us. And then he kind of come over and was talking to us. And he said, I'm just here checking to make sure that you weren't doing nothing unsafe, that there's no other buildings, he had a proper backstop. And actually the cop came out and talked with him a bit, and I think he fired one of the guns or something with him. The thing about these receivers or the triggers is if you touch these off, somebody must have one close by where I am. There's several farms. How's it going there, Boomstick? There's several large farms around by me, and when we sit there in the evening, you hear people shoot, but you hear it sounds like automatic fire. Somebody's ripping a clip off and burr, 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 and shooting. So somebody around me somewhere must have a trigger of some sort, binary, force reset, whatever. And the thing is, when you do use it, even if it's on private property, it sounds like a full auto weapon. So somebody may pick up the phone and say, hey, there's somebody, I can hear them firing a machine gun. And even though, okay, that's uploaded and that should be done. I'm going to close all this out. And did the stream, for those of you that had problems, just get better? Hey, Megabytes. Okay, yeah. How much, well, I know you can't say, but I've seen them go as low as, 3 something, 3.8, about 4.0, and okay, 4.5, 4.5. All right, and that's not bad because they're usually 6.0, 6.5. So, and they're good receivers. I did a lot of builds with them. Half my builds are on Andersons. I've never had no trouble with them. Sometimes the trigger pins and stuff will walk, but uh, so yeah, it's that's what gets me is these people get into this, and in a way, I did test one. It's the same like when I was in the military. Okay, I fired different firearms in the military, and so you're right. It's that's the thing is I was thinking of doing it because jumping on a bandwagon to get more views and everything, but it's a big hassle. The things cost a ton of money. The ammunition's about 50 cents a piece when you get it sent to you. And I mean, you can go through, you know, hundreds of rounds in a matter of 15 minutes. And for what? You know, the thrill of, you know, firing the weapon. But I don't know. They said that the one company had that one thing and they were sold out in 30 minutes. They sold 6,000 units in 30 minutes. Yeah, so, and it's always the same thing. If somebody sees something that was banned, now you wouldn't even know what a forced reset trigger was until the ATF was running around trying to actually confiscating them. Okay. And this gets on the YouTube legal stuff and Second Amendment rights and all this crazy stuff. And then next thing you know, it's like bump stocks. The minute the things were banned, those things were quite expensive. I never fooled with them. I never wanted to. They were quite expensive. And, I never fooled, like I said, I never did nothing with them. I've seen a few videos of people shooting them and everything else. The minute they were banned, at one guy at the gun show, they had a gun shop and they were selling basically AR stuff, magazines, things like that. And they said the minute they banned it, the phone was ringing off the hook at the store. Everybody was asking him, "Do you have bump stocks?" And he said, "We never stocked them to begin with." But he goes, "We were constantly getting calls, people wanting to buy the bump stocks." Okay, so in Maryland, I guess MD um, too concerned. Yeah, I mean, see that's the thing. Even if I go to somebody's farm where they got acres and acres of land, and we go out somewhere to a hill and start unloading this thing, you can hear it for quite a distance. And like I said, somebody could just call the sheriff or something and say, "Hey, somebody's out there shooting a machine gun or something." And well, I just made a video explaining all of this in detail. It's kind of not worth the money, time, hassle, and then even when you're out there playing games with it, you could run into problems. Somebody could complain, and then you will be confronted by the police. That can very well happen. And if they don't understand or don't know what it is, they're gonna have some uh, questions. Battered gun owner syndrome. Oh yeah, it's kind of crazy. You can 3D print some of these, like the Super Safe triggers. Granted, the hell was it? The one that was in the lawsuit, rare breed trigger. Now that's a complete package. Those things cost more than the budget guns to start with. Okay, and to put one in there, I'm not sure what it is, and I'm not going to spend that money to even investigate what it is. And I think there's a clause in there. The ATF said if you put that in a pistol, it's not legal. Okay, a rifle is one thing, but see, and these people, when they report this, they go through it, and the thing changes so much, what information they're telling you. And then somebody was stating that this is, when they're talking about the legal thing and how it was written and the actual law and all this other stuff. The question is, does this only pertain to these triggers from this company, Rare Breed? What about all the other things out there? Where do they fall? And one person said something that Super Safety and the little gizmo, the simple one, where they give you the modified trigger and all this other stuff. They said that those were never illegal to begin with, and that they're not force reset triggers. There's some kind of mechanical, whatever they call it, and how it works or whatever does not cover what was never illegal or something. I have no idea. But like I said, someone calls the cops because they say, I hear a machine gun, and you say machine gun, and they go out there. They're not mechanical weapons experts or armorers to tell. All they know is, when they pulled up, it sounds like that gun's ripping in full auto. So we're going to have some questions. That's why one guy reviewing it on one of those channels said, don't shoot this at public range. Okay. Not a good thing. Yeah, there he is. We had that. Yes, or a Glock switch. They'll probably say, do you have a Glock switch in there? It's not a Glock pistol, it's a rifle, but no, it's a Glock switch. That's true. See, that's the thing. That's why I may just, I kind of asked somebody, I would like to try it, and I kind of asked the individual, do you know somebody that's got a secluded farmland, kind of go and do this? But if I do, it'll be a one-time thing, and then I think I'm going to get rid of these devices altogether and stop fooling with them. So let's see what he's saying here. Our law said we have to have the ATF registered. What's the ATF said was not required. So as a sample, I went through the motions to do so. That's how they stuck us. It's kind of like that. They made a thing about marijuana back in the 30s that you can grow it if you have a permit or a license. Okay. So if you went down to get the permit or the license from the federal government, they wouldn't issue you one unless you actually possess some harvested product. which was illegal to possess without the license. So if you went to get the license and they said, "Do you have product?" and you say no, then they said, "We can't issue you a license." But if you show up with product or some sample and say, "Yes, I have it," then they would arrest you for illegally possessing this without a license. So yeah, the government's pretty good at this BS thing, you know, to do all that crap to you. Yes, rare breed triggers. So that's what I was trying to ask. I searched the internet and I was trying to ask if a super safety, which is the little thing you push through, or the super selector or whatever is another device that you just change out the safety selector and they got the little arm spring loaded or something on there. That costs more than the inexpensive ones. You know, that's over $2 bills. And you know, some of these legal advisors are saying that all of this pertains just to rare breed triggers, which are the expensive packets. It's like a adjustable AR trigger. If you ever put one of them fancy triggers, it comes in a packet, I call it, or whatever. It's a whole complete unit. You know, when you take out your standard fire control group and you got to drop this in, put 2 anti-walk pins through it, and then I think they even have like a little set screw where you set this in a receiver. I put one in my gun, the 6.5 Grendel. I put an adjustable, expensive AR trigger in there. You know, I didn't go too crazy. You know, a little about 150, but some of them get expensive. And I got a little adjustable trigger, which is kind of nice. I mean, it's a lot better than the stock uh, thing that goes in there, the mil spec one. And the yeah, see now that's another statement that one brand of trigger is the only one that's legal. So my question is, what are all these other things that they're selling? Uh, and someone said that binary triggers are not covered. You can still buy those now, but are they not legal? Because binary trigger is a whole different thing. And the ATF was, you know, going after them and taking them away from people, confiscating them. Can they get them back now? Is this covered? And you know, and the one lawyer was saying, well, can't they go and start a case in these states that outlaw them and force the state to have to change this? And the guy explains that these groups that take the money to do this, he goes, it has to be like a big deal. He goes, if you go there and start this case, he goes, the cost of taking this to the Supreme Court is astronomical. And unless you got some kind of legal foundation or something behind you with the money to do this, okay, it's not going to happen. And he said, over the triggers or something, I guess that one company just had deep enough pockets to do it. You know, they're not going to do that. You know. Yeah, and that's another foolish thing. How can you say you're banning a Glock because of the Glock switch, But a lot of these handguns, especially all these inexpensive guns from Turkey, are nothing more because the patent ran out on, I guess, the early generation Glocks. They're basically Glock clones. Okay, so you ban Glocks, there's at least a dozen other types of firearms out there that are not Glocks, that are made by another company that are identical, at least the slide and that crap, to a Glock. So this is a ridiculous law and a waste of time and money. And then what do you do with all of the guns? See, there's so many guns out there. What do you do with the ones that are there now? Okay, or out there now? I mean, it's moronic and it's unenforceable. Okay, so it's this year. Are legal for having them. Okay. But I don't know, they're crazy laws. There's a lot of crazy things going on. Okay. Whatever the hell Trump's doing with these wars and stuff is screwed up. The economy, things don't look good. I know money's tightening up a lot, and that's why you're seeing these low prices on firearms, but you're not seeing really, really low prices on reloading components, which are still sky high. They've come down a tad, but there's still, some cartridges are cheaper to buy than to reload for, and all the popular ones, 9mm, 223 or 5.56. I looked at what it would cost to load them, even with primer. You're looking at 7-8 cents a friggin' primer. Okay. It used to be like 3 or 4, years ago. And then the powder's outrageous. And one person did ask me, why did it go up so much in such a short period of time? It's gone up, 100% in the span of a year or two. And they give you all these excuses, but I still think it's backdoor gun control, and that they force these companies, because their major customer for ammunition is the government. Okay, they're the ones, the government, for the military and all the police, all law enforcement throughout the country, order millions and millions of rounds of ammo. It's like when that one guy says, oh, this department or the government just ordered 10 million rounds of ammo or something like that. They do that every year. Okay. So they're not buying up the ammo so we don't have any. That's why, if they say raise the prices up, because I don't know, them guys in Canada, whenever they come up there, the Canadian cartel, they're telling me, it's $60-$70 American for a damn 20 rounds of hunting ammo up there. So you're not going to do any casual friggin' target practice while you're up there. And even the reloading stuff is ungodly. And I think the Gun Geek did some kind of video where he went to a gun show and buy a half a packet of primers, some leftover powder and stuff, kind of looking around and that. And that's why you get to where you're just sitting there with one of them Lee loaders and a rubber mallet, loading 5 cartridges at a time. He just described our gun laws. Yeah. So, yeah, it's tough. It's getting tougher. So, all right, we had about 20 some people show up today, I guess. Not interesting. one big discussion about converting one of those cap and ball revolvers, and mostly laws and that. I'm glad our friend went on his elk hunt and got something. Uh, so, but yeah, I'm going to do some more stuff with the ARs. And spoiler alert, I'll tell you guys since you're here. I went through and got Radical Firearms, Andro Corp, and I got a Anderson closeout, okay, utility rifle. I did the video on it. I took that gun out the other day, and that gun with all of my ammo, even though it does not like my reloads. For some odd reason, my reloaded ammunition will not chamber in that gun. So it has to be something about the barrel and that is tight. But any factory spec ammo, okay, fires, and that gun fires super accurate with, when I get the video up sometime this week, you'll see. With any ammo that I run in there, that PPU 55 grain, Lake City 62 grain ball ammo. I mean, at 50 yards, it's 1-inch groups and 1.5-inch groups. Where them other guns, if you've watched the videos, those other guns really ain't throwing the bullets. It's 2.5-inch groups, so I don't know. No. And actually, at Radical Firearms, I'd like to change that friggin' free floating handguard. It's too wide. I don't know if you really can. I have to see how they come off or what brand it is. That's about the only thing I really don't like about the gun. It's well made. It functions. Accuracy sucks in it pretty bad. I have to get mine out with the FN barrel and compare all of them in a little range session. Go out and shoot and see how we do. To get them targets with the numerous bullseyes, so I can just post one target and shoot at them and see what we come up with. Be a lot easier than doing what I'm doing now. But that's probably what I'm going to be working on before it gets too cold for me to go out there and do anything. I froze. Yeah, I was out Friday, and my hands were frozen in that and everything. But the only good thing is nobody comes out in the range when it's super ass cold. I mean, so you got the whole place to yourself. That's about the only good thing about the cold weather. Well, all right, guys, I'm going to get going early this time around. We'll be back next Sunday, same time, 10 o'clock. And, if you guys got some questions, jot them down. It's something we can all discuss. It was kind of interesting with the converting with Matt Parker there. His question was well-founded and gave us something to discuss. All right then, gentlemen, until next week, have a good week now.